When we are struggling with debt, the biggest challenge is that we feel out of control and we wonder, are we ever going to get out of it? Now, eventually, your assets are going to be defined as things that put money in your pocket, and your liabilities are going to continue to be defined as things that take money out of your pocket. And we're going to get you really advanced at all of this stuff. And you're going to never, ever, ever, never, 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 Taylor Swift, never, ever, ever get back together with debt. And you're never, ever, ever going to borrow for a liability because
Yeah.
that's the thing that's keeping you broke.
I forgot to tell you what I did this weekend.
But how do you forget to tell me what you did on the weekend?
I think it's because I wanted to keep it to myself to see how it was going to go first, and before I told you, before I shared with you the full
Okay.
experience.
Because I sometimes worry, when you're so close to somebody, you just assume when something happens, they're going to tell you. When you're only medium friends with somebody, you're like, how are you doing? Feel me? But when you're already friends for a long, long time, like we've been friends for 30 years or whatever it's been, we just bomb it. Hey, this is happening. And the other person's like, cool. So I sort of felt like, oh, am I not doing a good enough job
Oh,
asking
no, no,
what
no, that's
happened?
not it at all. I kept it to myself because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And I was like, I'm just going to wait until it's over and then I'm going to tell her about it.
Okay, what?
It was so bad. I had to do a sleep apnea at home test. Have you
Oh
ever done one?
no, because I don't have sleep apnea, but like, what
I don't know if I do either. That's why I have to take a test.
is Nick recording you doing that choking thing in the night?
No. Okay, so like this is what I mean. This is a whole thing. As we get older, I feel like we're all going to have to do this. So I'm going to prepare you for
Okay.
what's coming. So I
Okay.
was just at like a regular doctor's appointment a while ago, which you do know about. I was at the doctor, and one of the things that she asked me was, do you snore? Like, how are you sleeping? Do you snore? And I'm like, listen, my children, I've shared a hotel room with them lately, and they are vowing to never do that again because apparently it sounds like a train is coming through the hotel room. So she's like, okay, we maybe should look into this and see. So it was like this referral, and this other company called me, and I had to go in to this office, and this woman walks me through this whole test that I'm going to have to do that night. And I get like a little kit, a little plastic kit that has this big contraption in it that I have to take home. And now I have to wear this thing at night. She's walking me through how to use it, and you got to press the button and the lights got to come on, blah, blah, blah. So I warned the family, okay, I'm going to bed. Nobody be alarmed if you come in and see me in the night. If you are passing by on your way to bed, just know that mom and Nick, in your case, your wife, is going to have a lot of things connected to her person for the night. So this whole thing, it's like a little box that's this big. That's the first thing you have to do is like strap it onto your chest. Okay. Then it has wires coming out of 3 different spots. So one of them is just connected. I guess it's like maybe doing my heart rate overnight. I don't know. It's doing something on my chest anyway, this thing. And then there's like another wire that then connects to like a finger. You're supposed to connect it onto your finger. So it's like doing your blood oxygen, I guess, and probably doing your pulse and stuff too. It's monitoring that. And I have like these fingernails. It goes on and then your finger sticks out, but it's got to be quite tight, right? So, because it's registering while you're sleeping, it's measuring. And then the other one is a big long wire, a big tube that goes up your back and around, whatever. And you have to put it over your ears. And then it's like the oxygen thing that goes in your nose, but it's not giving me oxygen. It's reading my oxygen, but it's in my nose. So it's already uncomfortable. And she's like, you have to tape it on so that it doesn't move. So she's like, you tape it on your cheek and you tape it under your neck. And the Velcro's got to be tight enough that it is staying in place all night. Erin, I looked horrified. I
You look
had
like Darth Mater.
so there were wires everywhere, everywhere. And I'm like, how am I supposed to sleep? How am I supposed to sleep with this thing on? Anyway, I go to bed, and I had told the woman already that gave me the kit that I sleep on my side or I sleep on my stomach. She's like, well, I don't know, see what you can do. This was the worst night's sleep that I have had in ever.
You don't have sleep apnea, but you have insomnia. That's what it determined.
So you had to press the button, and then the 3 cables, like the cords, the wires, whatever they are that are coming out of it, had to all light up green. So first of all, I put it on and it's green, and I'm like, excellent. And then I move, red. So I, root, give it a little woot woot, tighten wires or whatever, and it's green. And then I move, red.
Do you have
Like,
to sleep with these like lights on?
so apparently what will happen eventually, even though I never saw this happen, is that the lights will dim
Oh,
after everything is green for like 10 minutes.
that's not for you because you have
Because
sleep.
I keep reet. And then I finally like get into a position where I think it's green and I'm closing my eyes, but my hand is up here because of the thing on my finger, and the Velcro's stabbing me in the armpit over on this side. And like I feel like the circulation is being cut off on my finger. And then the nose, I'm like, I'm mouth breathing right now. So does this think I'm dead because nothing is coming out of my nose right now? There's no air. I'm telling you, I got up in the night one time to pee, and she's like, don't worry about that. Just go pee. It's fine. And everything is red. I'm like, is this even worth it? So I try to make it green again. I go back to sleep. I'm trying to get comfortable. I roll over at one point because I did actually fall asleep, but then there's like a wire tangled. This is not a fun thing. Can I also tell you that this whole contraption smelled bad?
After you, it goes to someone else. And
I
then
know. That's exactly. So I'm thinking about all the old men that have sleep apnea that have worn this before me. This is what I'm thinking about in the middle of the night. So I have like old man Velcro sticking me in the armpit, and I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. So finally 4:30 a.m. rolls around. I'm wide awake. I just get up and I take the whole thing off. At that point, I'm like, screw it. All of it goes off. There's paperwork that you have to fill out first thing in the morning. So it asks you your night's sleep. How was it in comparison to most nights? I'm like, the worst ever. What time did you go to bed? Well, I tried to go to bed at this time, but I didn't sleep. Anyway, I am waiting now for them to send me a message that says, sorry, your test came back inconclusive and you're going to have to do this again.
oh gosh. Almost be better if they put you in some sort of tube.
I'm going to read you an email that came from Kate. Kate has a question about filling out her net worth spreadsheet, but I think that you're going to find this interesting, what she has to say. She says, hello, Erin. First, I would like to say thank you so much for creating this program and sharing it with the world. I found it through my aunt, and I'm so excited to get started and pay off my debt and build wealth. Kate says she just turned 34. She has a 7-month-old, and she's currently behind on all of her bills and needs to catch up and pay off credit cards and then other debt before she plans on building savings and building wealth. She says, I got a second job and plan on getting another. I'm very eager to get going. She says, I'm reaching out because I need help filling out my net worth spreadsheet. I have worked at a bank for 4 years now, but finances is never something that was discussed as I was growing up, so I'm not the best at it. I don't fully understand them and feel stupid asking questions at my job and just feel very ignorant towards it all. Of course, I have some ideas about finances, but clearly things have not been working for me, or I wouldn't be in the position I'm currently in. She goes on to specifically ask questions about the net worth spreadsheet and says, for the goal section on the first page, am I putting in my goal of what I want to save or what I want to pay off in debt? And she says she's also confused about the assets and liability section. I don't know what would be considered for either.
I love this. Here's the part that I think people need to understand is Kate, who doesn't know what an asset and liability is and who
Yeah.
doesn't understand finances, is a great representation of your banker. That when you go into a bank and you're doing transactions, the person that's handling your money often has no idea what an asset or liability is. And so this isn't a knock on Kate at all. Banks hire people for customer service reasons or all kinds of reasons. Oftentimes they do get some sort of education and stuff along the way, but it doesn't mean that they understand it. They understand it from the perspective of this is how to make the bank more money. And we see this a lot with people in the financial services industry, that their finances are actually a mess. So this is who's handling your money. I just need you to know this. And this happens not just at banks. This happens in the mortgage industry. That's where my eyes were open to it. The amount of coworkers I had when I was doing mortgages So my history is I became a mortgage broker and then owned a mortgage brokerage and hired mortgage brokers and then got rid of the mortgage brokerage. Now I'm licensed with a friend of mine's mortgage brokerage. And I have a team of people that do the mortgages for me when you decide you want me to handle your mortgage. I oversee the whole process and make sure it fits with your financial plan. But who's taking your data is a team of women that I work with who are phenomenal. So I just say all that because I've always made sure the people that I work with and the people who work with me are financially literate. Because way back when I was starting, the amount of mortgage brokers that knew how to get you a good deal on a mortgage, but had so much debt they could barely breathe was unbelievably high. And way back then, and if you've read the book, Get the Hell Out of Debt, you know this story. One of the people at one of the first brokerages I ever worked for, he was a recruiter, and his job was to recruit mortgage brokers into the industry. And he would tell us as owners of the mortgage brokerage, the people who you want to hire need to be in debt.
Mm.
He's like, if you want staff retention, get them to lease a really good car and make sure they know that, they can't be showing up to a client's house in a Toyota Corolla. They have to be showing up in a Lexus or a BMW or a Mercedes. So they have to get a vehicle on payments. Because they'll have those payments, it'll drive them to work harder. This was his recruiting tactic. Everything in my body was like, I'm out. I'm never doing that to somebody. I would rather have the person with the Toyota Corolla who has 6 cash flowing rental properties and knows what they're doing when it comes to money versus somebody who's trying to get me in more debt so they can get a commission to pay off their debt. That's not a system I want to be a part of. So I just say all this because there are a lot of people in the financial services industry who are struggling, and it's not their fault. They have to take responsibility for it and change it if they plan to. But I just think that should be vetted differently. I really truly believe they need to walk the walk. They need to be in a certain financial position in order to be able to help. So, Kate, I'm going to walk you through your questions here. And so those of you who are on YouTube are going to be able to see the spreadsheet that I'm using. And this is the same spreadsheet we give you if you join the Get the Hell Out of Debt program. But you can do this with a pen and paper. You can do this with an app. You can do it however you want. Wealthy people have been tracking their net worth long before computers existed. So you don't need tools and resources and apps and all of that stuff. You just really need to know how and why this stuff is really important. But I also say this because, this week it was a hot topic for me. I went live in the Get the Hell Out of Debt social group because somebody asked a question about bankruptcy. And so I was answering her question. She was trying to figure out if she's insolvent or bankrupt. And I think, she said her debt was 650% of her income, which is really high. 6.5 times her annual income was the amount of debt. So she was like, am I insolvent? And so the question is not, am I insolvent? That just begs a number of questions. The question is, maybe if you can't get your income up, and once you pay off all the debt, or once you get discharged from your bankruptcy, what are you going to do if you haven't learned how to manage it, right? So I was more trying to dig in to find, was this because of a illness, like a medical issue, like what sort of happened here, just so we could get the full picture, because there's not a one size fits all answer. And there's not a number at which, yes, this amount of money makes you insolvent or not. There's sort of like a list of checks and balances that sort of get determined. And the biggest indicator is, what is the likelihood you're going to be able to increase your income and decrease your expenses? And if the answer is not likely, then probably you are insolvent. And insolvent means you would either file a consumer proposal, an orderly payment of debts, or bankruptcy, depending on the part of the world you live in. But you need to contact a bankruptcy trustee if that's you. But I say all this, that conversation came up, and then she mentioned, and my husband's a financial planner. And I went, oof, and I just swallowed hard, because that guy's managing some people's money and he must be feeling so much shame. It must be so difficult to have conversations with people about that kind of thing. And probably the level of shame he feels is affecting his ability to be a good financial planner and or get more clients, which would then allow him to get himself in a better financial position. So there's a lot of healing we have to do around the shame piece. But I think the big thing that happens is, no matter where you are in your financial journey, whether you're in the financial services industry or not, you have got to clean up your mess. If you are going to do a good job and serve people at the highest level, which really I believe anybody in financial services needs to be doing, you need to be serving the client, not yourself, first and foremost. And in order to do that well, you've got to clean up your own mess. So, Kate, we're here with you. We're going to walk you through, and you're going to help a lot of people by this question, because we've never shown how to do this on the YouTube channel before. So you're giving a lot of people a gift today. Okay. Do you want more? I know you do. Why wouldn't you want more?
More what? What do I want more of?
more of this, come
Oh.
hang out in the online course for Get the Hell Out of Debt. The link is in the description. You just got to click it, sign up, and we'll see you in there. Okay. So as you can see here, if you're looking at YouTube, you'll see that the net worth spreadsheet is up here. It's just a basic spreadsheet with 2 columns. Green is for assets, red is for liabilities. Now we've kind of used a cute teal and a cute pink because,
We'd like it to look pretty.
the aesthetics were nice. So what
Mhm.
she's asking here is at the top under current goal, what do I put? Okay, so we're going to put Kate's name here. And basically, when you're goal setting financially, we want you to know kind of where you want to go. But sometimes when you're starting out, it just feels too ethereal. You're just like, I don't know, I just want the debt to end, right? So you might say your big goal is to get the hell out of debt, be out of consumer debt. Maybe that's your big goal right now. Maybe it's to be a millionaire. Maybe it's to own your own home. You can decide what it is. That's going to be your big goal. But the current goal is what you're working on next. So for you, that might be pay off Chase credit card, which means that down here in the liabilities section, you have a Chase card, and let's say it's got $4,000 owing on it, something like that. So this goal piece, that's totally up to you. There's not something specific you need to put. It's just, I really believe in keeping your goal at the forefront of your mind as often as possible. So if you've done, a Get the Hell Out of Debt immersive weekend with me, or you've done a transformation weekend with me, you know that we spend a lot of time crafting a vision for your life. And that means crafting a vision for your financial life. So sometimes what happens is, you have to get really, really clear on what it is you want exactly. And then you can come up with pictures that represent that, and they can be the background of your phone, or you can print something off. We've got a couple of people I know right now that are currently paying off their mortgages. And so they've got their land title taped to their fridge because they're like so focused on it. I want to own this home free and clear. And so keeping these things at the forefront of your mind will keep you focused on your goal when Amazon Prime Day comes around,
Mhm.
or when some other kind of temptation happens, right? So that's the only reason why we have that. If you did this net worth spreadsheet without filling out either of these fields, you'd still be okay. Not the end of the world, but I just want you to articulate. And if you don't know what that is today, you can fill out the spreadsheet first and then articulate it later. But basically, an asset, according to this spreadsheet, now let me just preface this. When you're starting out, you're going to do your net worth spreadsheet based on what your bank would consider to be an asset or liability. But as you get more advanced, and especially once you're in phase 3, you're going to define assets and liabilities quite differently. And I describe that in the chapter called Plot Twist in the book, Get the Hell Out of Debt. Okay. But for today, because you're just starting out, an asset is something that you own, and a liability is something that you owe. So we don't put the monthly payments in here. We put the total amount. So right now, if all you had was that one credit card, you can see up here, the calculator calculates it for you that your net worth is negative $4,000. But let's assume that you have some things too. And all of these fields are customizable or changeable. It looks like the last time I did this demo, I either did it for somebody who lived in the UK, or I did it for somebody in Canada based on these fields. Well, let's assume that you're an American. Let's assume that you're somewhere in the South and you got one of those really super cute Southern accents that I love so much, and you say the word y'all. I have this friend, by the way, total side note. Her name is Allison. And the other day she goes, well, that's like chasing a booger up a thorn tree. I have no idea what that sentence means, but I'm using it. So, okay, let's do that together here. Shall we, Kate? Let's chase a booger up a thorn tree. If you have a 401k, you're going to figure out what the total investment value is. So let's say you've been working at your job for a little while. I think you said you're 34. You probably have some sort of work benefits through work. Maybe there's a 401k program. You don't even know you're enrolled in it or what it's enrolled in. That's going to be part of your homework to find that out. But let's say you've got $32,000 in 401k assets sitting in there. Okay. You wouldn't have a pension or an ISA probably. You wouldn't have any of these things here, but maybe you have a 529 for your kids. That would be their sort of college education that you've set aside for them. And you have to be very gentle with me because I grew up in the 1900s, almost a boomer. And so I'm not great with tech, but if I can do this, you can do this. So you'll have to be patient with me as I jump around here on this spreadsheet. But your 529, let's say, even though this is your child's asset, we're going to put it under you just for now, again, until you're in phase 3. But maybe you've got 15,000 in there socked away for college, for example. And maybe you don't have any of these other things, and that's okay. Registered investments, this basically refers to anything that the government has their hands in. So A registered investment is something that has either a tax growth benefit or a tax deferred benefit. So your 401k, you're not paying tax on that today. You're going to pay tax on that later when you go to use it later in life. But we put it under registered investments because there's a limit and the government needs to know for taxation purposes what this investment is sheltered in. Your non-registered investments, so if you've got money in a checking account or a savings account, let's say you have $3,000 sitting in a savings account, you would put that in here. I don't personally track my checking because it fluctuates so much, so I don't put it in my net worth spreadsheet. However, if I were to have a minimum, like some people keep a minimum of $100 or $5,000 or whatever in their checking account, you could put the minimum amount that you keep in there all the time. That could be on this spreadsheet in that category there. Maybe you have a vehicle. You probably have a Ford F-150 because Jason boogers up a thorn tree.
Yeah,
So you put
exactly.
the street value of that vehicle here. And basically anything that you own that if you were to sell could be converted for cash, you're going to put that cash number in this column here. Okay. Again, you don't need to have any or all of these things. This is just the different categories that they go into. And as you get more advanced in the program, Get the Hell Out of Debt, you'll know how to maximize these and why they're separated out, but we don't have to worry about that today. Basically, it's going to take everything here, your total assets, and calculate it for you at the bottom. And it also puts it at the top of the spreadsheet. Because what your net worth is, it's the difference between your assets minus your liabilities. That's your net worth. Okay, so let's say you got yourself in a little bit of credit card debt here because you didn't understand what any of this was before and you thought debt was normal, and maybe you got some bonuses for getting people signed up for credit cards. So you're really into that credit card mentality. So let's say you got a few of these, I don't know. And then your vehicle that's worth 9,000, which we said was a Ford F-150, maybe that's got a loan on it of, it's probably underwater, let's say, right? So let's say it's $9,900. All of this is going to calculate to give you a net worth here. So your net worth, let's say, for illustration purposes, is $37,080. That's great. It's your starting point. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that number, this number here, 37,080, and you're going to go to this second tab at the bottom, the net worth tracking tab. So then you put today's date right here. And every week, your job is to do what you can to make this net worth go up. So you make it go up by paying down this debt. So let's get this down, let's say to $1,900. Now your net worth is $37,200 a week later. So you go over here and you type $37,200. And you're like, wow, my net worth increased by $120. We celebrate because your net worth went up. And then we do it again. Let's pay a little more off. Maybe we can get really strategic here and just go bananas. Maybe we sell a bunch of stuff and have a garage sale. Now our net worth is 38891. This will track for you. And what you're doing is just looking to make this go up. That's all you're trying to do. Now over here on the last tab is your basic cash flow tracker. This is your very, 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 very basic budget, Kate, the most basic budget that exists in the world. There are fancier ways to do this. We teach you a ton of different spreadsheet options inside the Get the Hell Out of Debt program. But what's cool about this is it just gives you an at-a-glance place to start if a budget feels overwhelming to you. So this was already pre-filled out. I'd obviously done this illustration for someone else. So let's say, Kate, you've got commissions of $1,200 a month. You have a base of $500 a month. You get some kind of bonus of $2,000 and you just really killed it this month and you got another bonus and your total income for the month was $5,200. This doesn't even have to be per month. This could be per paycheck. Maybe you get paid twice a month. Maybe you get paid bi-weekly. You can fill this out for every pay period that you want. I'm just doing it for illustration purposes for a month. And then we've got some expenses over here. You have rent, you've got that vehicle payment on that Ford F-150, you got some groceries here, maybe some Uber Eats in there too. There's a little bit of a surprise because there's always something that comes up that we don't expect. And you've got a cat that's costing you a little bit of money. So your expected income for next month is $5,200 and already your expenses are at $4,300. And you'll have to put your debt payments in here. So if you've got, a minimum on each of those credit cards, that needs to go in here. But for illustration purposes, you've got an extra $900 every month. Now I know you're like, Erin, this is such a lie because I'm in the Get the Hell Out of Debt program. There's no way I have that extra money. It might be $90. It might be $25. It might be negative $30. And if that's the case, then we have to go over here and we have to either come up with $30 or we have to cut $30 from here. But this number has to be 0 or higher. And if it's higher than zero, we know that we have $900 every month that we have to make this net worth go up by. So if this is not going up by at least $900 every month, if this is what's happening in your budget, we've got an overspending problem. So we just have to dial this in. Now, this is never going to go perfectly because this cat is going to eat something it shouldn't
Mhm.
and
They always do.
have diarrhea everywhere. And you're going to have to get that carpet shampooer
Mhm.
and
Yep.
clean it up. You've had to do all kinds of fun things with your
Mhm.
cats before.
And the pills that you have to stuff down their throats.
So your job is to figure out what this is to make this go up. Now, again, if your expenses are higher, then we're at negative 800. So in order to stop going into debt, in order to stop that bleeding, we got to figure this out. So we got to dial these groceries back. We can maybe work a little bit of overtime. We can cut some lawns or something. Let's do some mowing. Mowing the neighbors' lawns might get us a couple $100 there. Now we're only at negative 1,000. Can't change the vehicle payment, obviously can't change rent, right? What else can we do, right? I guess we got to get that income back up, or we got to sell some stuff. Let's sell those skis. I have skis in my garage. They wouldn't allow you to downhill ski with the skis that I have in my garage. They're so old. They're practically wooden. I think they're made of wood, but somebody might want them for their museum. As long as you're doing this ahead of time, you can see and anticipate and adjust as you go. And then again, all you're going to do is do whatever you got to do now to take that $200, and then that increases the net worth again, and off you go. So that's how you fill it out. It's pretty basic. It's pretty easy. You're doing everything right. You're on the journey. You're on the program. For now, your definition of assets is anything that you own. Your definition of liabilities is anything that you owe. And once you get a handle on this and you're updating your net worth once a week and you're updating your budget once a week and you're staying focused and you're in it, girl, you got to make it fun. Let me just tell you, if it feels like a chore, it's going to be a chore. So buy your favorite chocolate, light a candle, pour your favorite beverage in your favorite glass, put on some mood music. I even have like a playlist, which I can share with you. It's a Spotify playlist that I use. It's called Naked Money Meetings. You probably search for it on Spotify. If you search Naked Money Meetings on Spotify, my money playlist might come up for you, but I'll put the link in the show notes. And you make it just a really fun event and you really don't spend a ton of time on it. In the beginning, it takes a bit of time because if you haven't been doing it, it's going to be a challenge to do, but you're going to do the best you can. You're going to make it fun. And every week you're going to celebrate. If that net worth goes up by $1, girl, you're doing a butt wiggle dance. Look at me go. I'm so brilliant. I'm so smart. You're smarter than all your coworkers. You're smarter than most people in the financial services industry. If that net worth goes up by at least $1. And obviously we want to make it go up by as many dollars as possible. Now, if you've got investments in the stock market, or other types of investments that fluctuate, it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster, right? There's going to just be some times where it dips, but you're not going to panic. You're only going to panic if month after month it's going down and you don't know where that leak in the boat is coming from. That's where you're going to reach out to me, reach out on Facebook to our team. We're going to get in there and see if we can sort of stop that leak in the boat. But the most important thing right now is that you start and that you track and you figure it out, because the starting point, no matter what that number is today, is going to be the place you look back at and go, look how far I came,
Mhm.
what I did, look what I accomplished.
When we have you on the podcast, that's exactly what you share with us is how your net worth started and the percentage of the increase that you've had once you're out of debt. And those numbers are awesome. And everyone that's been successful in this program loves this net worth spreadsheet. And they didn't like it in the beginning either. They didn't like it. It wasn't fun. Like Erin says, you've got to try to make it something that you enjoy. But if you just keep doing it, I promise you, you will learn to love the spreadsheet because it's showing you that you are getting wealthy. It's showing you that you're getting the hell out of debt. And it's cool when you can see where you started when you get to where you want to go.
It's really that piece for you that allows you to feel in control. Because I think when we are struggling with debt, the biggest challenge is that we feel out of control and we wonder, are we ever going to get out of it?
Yeah.
Now, eventually, your assets are going to be defined as things that put money in your pocket, and your liabilities are going to continue to be defined as things that take money out of your pocket. And we're going to get you really advanced at all of this stuff. And you're going to never, ever, ever, never, 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 Taylor Swift, never, ever, ever get back together with debt. And you're never, ever, ever going to borrow for a liability, because
Yeah.
that's the thing that's keeping you broke. And
Yeah.
what's really cool about what I'm so excited about, Kate, is that you're going to be able to teach this to your clients, and
Yeah.
the way you hold yourself. I don't know if you're a teller or whatever the bank you work in, but your financial confidence is going to be emanating and radiating off you. There's nothing like the confidence of a woman that has her money together. And you're going to be a leader in that company, and you're going to grow to be a leader of that bank, and you're going to grow to change the culture so that the people working there have financial literacy just like you, Kate.
Okay, Kate, you could keep us updated on how this goes. For anyone that is listening, if you want access to this spreadsheet, you just have to join us at getthehelloutofdebt.com. There's 3 different ways that you get to join the program. One is that you pay $99. It's a one-time only ever fee. That's it. Pay it once and you get lifetime access to this. We have a lot of people that go through the program and then need a refresher. And so they go back and rewatch the videos. So that's exactly what you can do is anytime you feel like you're a little off track or when you're looking at that spreadsheet and it's not aligning the way you were hoping, just go back and watch one of the videos again. And everything that Erin just went through is also in there. So you can access exactly what she's just shared in more detail inside the program. So pay once. You also can pay whatever you can to get into the program, and just know that whatever you're able to contribute is something that goes towards sponsoring other people to come join us in this program. And you know what? The amazing thing that Erin does is that if you just can't right now, and we know that some people can't, you also can apply for sponsorship. So know that if you're one of the people that has paid what you can, your money's going to help the people that really can't right now pay anything. So getthehelloutofdebt.com. The information's in the show notes. Everything that you need access to is super easy. Just do a couple clicks and you can come join us.